What's going on, Wiz Nation? Coming back at you guys with another episode of State of the Wizards. Thank you for tuning in. I'm your host, Decan, along with my co-host, K Jose. K Jose, what's going on, my man?
Ain't not much, man. I tell you, it's about to be. It's a victory Monday for you tomorrow. Misery Monday for me. The Raiders are now 0-3. Your Eagles are 3-0. Congratulations. Uh, you see the police department when you was leaving, bro?
Man, I got out of there probably like midway through the fourth. So I mean, if the police
Oh man,
department
you
was out
missed
there,
it, bro. That you missed it. The police department came there because it was a murder that happened up at FedEx Field, bro. You know
oh
the you
man.
know the killers was the Eagles.
Well, I was definitely there today at the game at FedEx Field, man. You would have thought like it was Lincoln Financial Field. I mean, we took over that stadium, bro. It was crazy. Like, I mean, I can't even say I feel bad for them because those same fans, they selling those tickets. They selling them. They getting rid of them. And who they giving it to? They to fans like me. I'm
Yeah,
and I'm
well,
just
we get
I'm just
ready to
yeah,
talk.
bring it on.
Well, we getting ready to discuss a team that's pretty used to that also.
Yeah, yeah, the Wizards, man, we got look, what I will say just to start on a positive note with the Wizards, there's a new season upon us. Now we are 0-0 and there's some people out there that's excited for the season. People that's kind of like, it's kind of hard to get excited for the season. Have those that are just like, man, bruh, it don't matter. It's just like the Commanders. We got no shot at winning.
Right.
And we'll expound on that. We'll touch on that. If this is your first time tuning in, thank you for tuning in. Please make sure you hit that subscribe button. Make sure you like and drop us some comments, man. We 25 episodes in now? We 25 episodes in,
Hmm.
right? So
Yeah.
so this is a 1 year anniversary episode. So we would have started State of the Wizards this time last year. And we've gained
Right.
a nice little respectable following. Nothing big, but it's cool. We're not really tripping off the fact that we ain't gaining thousands and thousands of subscribers. We're local. We're local, we're two local guys. So hundreds is good.
Right.
50 is good. You know what I mean? So, we really appreciate you guys constantly showing love to the channel.
Yeah, absolutely. We definitely appreciate the love. So,
So, K Jose,
meaty. Let's talk about this media D.
let's get into it, man. So, media day was a Friday, I believe.
Yeah.
Friday was media day, and players showed up, and it was very, very enthusiastic. I saw, we'll go over some player quotes and what they had to say. But before I do, give me your take on what you saw from the players and what you heard from the players about the upcoming season.
Oh, snooze fest. No, it was more of a lot of optimism. Well, from the players anyway. They said a lot of different things. Corey Kispert was saying that the goal is to make the playoffs. Porzingis is saying that he wants him and Kuzma to make Brad's job easier, as well as vice versa. That he's expecting Bill and Kuz to make his job easier. Monte Morris actually said something that was interesting, which is, you know, how come we can't have the John Wall energy? And when he said that, I was thinking to myself, like, okay, the John Wall energy. Well, maybe because there is no John Wall on the team.
Hmm.
But I guess the reason why he said that is because due to the article that came out of John Wall talking about his mental health and so forth, and the support that the local media was kind of giving to John Wall. I don't know if that bothered him in some type of way, but
Hmm.
it was just interesting that he said that why we can't have the John Wall energy or the experience. And I'm thinking to myself, like, dude, because there is no John Wall on the team. You can't ask for something that you know is not possible of happening. Because here's what I will say. Spencer Dinwiddie didn't say that he was Wall or Westbrook. He said, I'm not either of those guys. For me, I just thought that was kind of I thought Monte Morris was speaking out of turn by saying that.
Hmm.
But What I did like hearing was the improvement of Rui. You know, Kisper saying that Rui looks really, really good, which I believe Rui should start. We'll kind of dive into that later on. But the main thing that really, really stood out to me was Bradley Beal saying, win, lose, or draw, it's on me. He didn't want anybody to blame anybody else in that locker room. And I have to respect that from Bill because that's what he should say.
He took ownership.
He took ownership. However, that was going to happen whether he said it or not.
Yes, yes, very true. And you and I, again, we talk about this all the time, man. It's on him, and it has been on him. And it's been on him since John Wall went down with injury. When John Wall was traded, it was even more on him. And now that he signed the $251 million, even more on him. And
Absolutely.
we can continue to go into, that, but instead of making this about Bill and even going forward for even the next 5 years, I think it's very important that we need to realize that outside of Bradley Beal, the Wizards organization, it really needs to be held accountable for other players. And right now, there needs to be a player that shines over top of somebody like Bradley Beal. We're so accustomed to it, right? We're so used
Right.
to talking about him. We're so used to him. We all know he's not worth the 251. Everyone who followed this team knows that he's not that guy. The question now is who is going to be that guy? I think that's really what we really need to be talking about. If it's not Bill, and even though he's getting paid the amount of money he's getting paid, we know it's not him. Who's it going to be? Who is going to be that guy for the Washington Wizards going forward? If it's not, and we know if I'm gonna say we know it's not Bradley Beal. Who's going to be that guy for the Washington Wizards going forward?
Right.
Who can step up outside of
Well, I think there's quite a few players that's capable of stepping up. I really believe that. I believe that KP is it, as I said, and I said it on your podcast. I believe the team goes as far as Porzingis takes him because he's the most important
I
player
agree.
on the roster because his health is so key. That the talent that he brings is something that this organization has never had. So Porzingis' health. I mean, Porzingis himself is the guy. However, we know that the offense is not going to run through him. He's not going to be the first option, which I think is ridiculous.
Mm-hmm.
He should be, but we know it's not going to be that way. It's important for him to play at least 75 games this season. Important for Rui to feel involved, even though you and I believe that he's not going to be involved as much as we would like for him to be. It's important for a guy like Denny to actually have a breakout season. But the issue that I'm having is that how much bandwidth is Denny and Rui going to get this upcoming season when you have players like Monte Morris? Well, not necessarily Monte Morris, but when you have players like Will Barton on the team, have guys like Kuzma who's in front of them. These are two players who are in the last year of their contract. But so is Rui. However, these veterans, because we're in the win now, these veterans are going to get more playing time over a guy like Rui.
Let me ask you this. How frustrated are you going to be to see that the team is in Wes Unseld Jr. is not focusing their attention all on building up guys like Rui, Denny, getting Porzingis, more touches, more if he's not going to be the number one option. How much are you going to hold West to that this season if it
So
doesn't happen?
this season, the honeymoon season for Wes Unseld is over. So I'm definitely going to hold him accountable if those things don't happen. And I'm expecting that to go that way. Rui and Denny are not going to get that playing time because at the end of the day, we know what the expectations are. Expectations is the veterans. And with Wes Unseld Jr., and there's some people, well, ain't some people, there's only really one person on Wizards Twitter that's already throwing Wes Unseld Jr. under the bus.
Mm,
So that's, to me, in my opinion, this season is going to is going to create another excuse of why the build around bankroll isn't going to work.
mm-hmm, mm-hmm.
Because who are we going to be blaming? Oh, well, it's Wes Unseld Jr. That's the reason why. Because for one, he made it easy. Will Barton, that's his guy. You got Monte Morris, that's his guy.
Yeah,
So he's making it very easy for criticism to go his way.
yeah.
And it's going to go his way if, Rui and Denny are not playing like the way they're supposed to.
So let's put it this way, right? Look at this roster top down. You look at the guards, Bradley Beal, Will Barton, Johnny Davis. We got Monte Moore, Quentin Jackson, who's on it, Jordan Goodwin. These guys are going to be in the G League. When you look at these guys and you look at this roster top down, what can West really do? In this Eastern Conference, and your only all-star is Bradley Beal. What I'm just trying to make sense of it for the optimistic crew out there. Like there's folks out there that say they believe we can win 44, 45 games. I look at this roster. Looking at this roster, what can Wes Unseld Jr. do that makes guys like Anthony Gill, for example, see who else, Corey Kispert, for example, Core Maker, if he actually gets some playing
He'll be in
time.
the G League.
Yeah, I'm just throwing names out there aside from the original crew. Aside from the original core guys, what can he do? It's
It's
not like he's really turning this entire roster into magic. Denny Abdia needs to step up this season, no question.
of
Daniel
course.
Gafford probably needs to step up. It's safe to say that the young guys need to step up. But looking at everybody on this roster, what can he do?
To be honest with you, it's not much that he can do. The Eastern Conference is competitive. So here's what I'm going to point out when we look at this roster: Kuzma, Gill, Kisper. No, I'm sorry, not Kisper. Porzingis, Bankroll. Bankroll is Bill, by the way, for our listeners. But Bankroll, Will Barton, Monte Morris. Monte Morris. I think I mentioned Taj Gibson's name already.
Don't forget DeLon
Those players
Wright.
that I mentioned are
Yeah.
all Elliott and DeLone Wright. So you know where I'm going with this. All of these guys are either in their prime years or past their prime. So DeLone Wright, Will Barton, Monte Morris, those guys are who they are. Even a guy like Porzingis is who he is. His issue is just his health. Bankroll is who he is. Um, Anthony Gill is a guy that we just saved and gave him a job. But when you look at those players that I mentioned, it really doesn't say much of anything when you compare it to some of the top teams in the Eastern Conference. Like we just don't stack against those teams when you got a bunch of players that majority of them are role players and some of them are maybe second and third options on playoff teams.
Yes.
So what can we really expect? How can anybody sit here and say they see 44 wins? Where do you see that?
Look, and I'm so glad you said it that way because when you're naming these players, DeLone Wright, Monte Morris, who else? Let's just throw in there Daniel Gafford. Like these guys
Okay.
right now, these guys are who they are, man. Like I don't think there's much that Wes Unseld Jr. can do. There's nothing scheme wise, there's nothing system wise, there's nothing that the coach can do that can make these guys come out of who they are. These guys are who they are. Okay. And I think that it may be a little
Mm-hmm.
unfair to expect these guys to be more. I guess is the point that I'm getting at. It's unfair to expect these guys to be more than what we know these guys to be. And
Okay, let me hold
mhm,
that thought real quick. Not to cut you off. Hold that thought. Look at the roster
yeah.
and I want you to name the players that you feel have potential to be more than what they are. Name the players you feel that have the potential to be more than what they are, and tell me why you mentioned those names.
Denny Avdia, Rui Hachimura, and I mean, I'm kind of teetering here because I kind of feel like he's already who he is, but Kyle Kuzma. So those three guys I think can be more than what they are. But that's outside
And
of,
why do you think that is?
well, because those guys, they listen, if you give these guys little more usage, you give these guys a little bit more usage, give them a little bit more minutes, a little bit more playing time, uh, and the freedom to play their game, then I believe they can actually turn into their own. They can develop into something a little bit more special. Now
And
we've
what's that word called?
uh what
They
consistency?
have what? Well, yeah, that too, but they have what? It begins with the letter P.
They have
Ain't, and it ain't that P that you thinking either, bro.
um
Potential, my
yeah,
dude.
they have
Potential.
potential, right? They have potential, right? And look, I mean, and those are the three guys. The list isn't long. The list isn't long. The list is very short. Even when you talk about Corey Kispert, we know what Corey Kispert can do. What's Corey Kispert's what's Corey Kispert's ceiling? Being a dead-eye three-point shooter, right?
And
Probably
yeah, that would be it.
yeah, probably maybe a defensive a potential defensive 3 and D, kind of poor man's 3 and D guy.
Yeah,
He has that
yeah, I can
potential.
see that.
He has
I
that.
think Corey Kispert could be like not to cut you off, somewhere in between a young Mike Miller, Dan Marley, somewhere in that range.
Yeah, yeah. So I can see um Wes Unseld Jr. And, this brings me to my next point. Bradley Bill said that their job was to make Wes Unseld Jr.'s job hard. I don't know how many people took that, but how
Make
I
it
took,
hard?
yes, yes, he said that.
Okay.
He said that. He said our
I
job is
I
to make
need
Wes Unseld Jr.'s job hard.
I
Well,
need context on that.
well, and I'll try to find what he said specifically in the quote. But and you know what? I'll look it up right now. But what I'm getting out of that, man, is um what I get out of that is,
Shout out to Wayne Cole, by the way.
yeah, that's my guy. What I get out of that is look, it's not the players' jobs to make West's job easy. But in my opinion, saying something like that, it tells me that it tells me that at every turn, if your thought process is to make Wes's job hard or make Wes's job difficult, it means you probably purposely aren't doing something that he's asking you to do. That's just how I interpret it. I interpret it
Yeah,
like you're going in there purposely making his job difficult. If he's asking you to do
yeah.
something, then you should be doing it. You should be helping him and making his job easier by doing that. But Bradley Bill saying that publicly made me think, like, are you intentionally trying to make his job difficult? Like, why make a statement like that? I think everyone, as the leader of this team, I think I would interpret that as, okay, so you want me to what? Come into the season finding ways to make his job difficult. You know what I mean? Like it just didn't sit right with me him saying that.
So you actually had it on the quote. So go scroll back. So I was reading it as you were talking,
Oh,
and he
okay.
said it. Yeah, and he said it's to make his job hard. And
There it
his
is.
context was. So let me read exactly what he says. So it says that is to make Wes Unseld Jr.'s job hard. It's a lot of talent in here in regards to the lineup and playing time. Now, this was mentioned last season that we had a lot of talent. And I know what they usually say, having a lot of talent is a good thing to have. I wouldn't want to have his job trying to figure out who's to play, but mind you, the three spot is open. And in my opinion, I believe that's going to go to Will Barton. So how are you really making the job hard? See, Bankroll can say these things because he's the safest player on the team. So he
Yeah.
can say whatever he want to say.
Mm-hmm.
So
Yeah.
for the rest of the players on the team, they're not as safe as he is. At the end of the day, there's no expectations for Bankroll. The general manager is not having any expectations. If you noticed, he kind of shied away from the playoff talk when he was asked about the playoffs. He kind of ran from that. No, we're not hearing that anymore. We're not really hearing too much championship talk, except Bankroll did mention that he want to hoist the trophy, this, that, and the third. And I'm like, yeah, okay, you supposed to say that. But
Let me say this. I don't mean to cut you off, but let me make this point because I think people are going to watch this and they're going to say, "How did you not understand what he was saying?" Because this is what they're going to say, and I can almost guarantee you this is exactly what's going on in their head. They're supposed to make his job difficult because there's a lot of talent. So at the end of the day, the roster should be difficult to make up if everybody's playing their part, right? That's exactly what's going on in their mind. They're thinking, oh, well, if everybody's doing their part, if everybody's playing at a high level, then what he's saying is that it should be difficult for Wes Unseld Jr. to put players in certain spots because of how well they're playing. That's what they're
right.
thinking. But what I'm saying is that, that's not coming off right with him saying that. It's not.
Hmm.
Because you just alluded to it. He's the safest player on the team to make a statement like that. The safest player on the team to make a statement like that. If somebody was playing, let's say Johnny Davis is playing out of his mind, are you saying that it's okay for Johnny Davis to replace you at your spot if he's playing out of his mind?
We know that's not happening,
We
but
know
you're
that's
right.
not happening.
Right, right,
So
right.
to make a statement like we're supposed to make Wes Unseld Jr.'s job hard. It's not hard for him to realize like I can't bench Bradley Beal and start Johnny Davis. Like you see what I'm saying? Like that's not a hard decision to make. He's never going to make that decision.
No, 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 he's not. I mean, if you look at it, when you look at the roster, the two players that probably won't have to worry about being benched is Bankroll and KP. They don't have to worry about it, but everybody else, they will have to worry. Even for Kuz, I think he would have to worry if he's stinking it up, that he could possibly be benched. Um, with this, when you look at the roster, and everything that they said in media day is expected. Of course, they're going to say positive things, but guess what? Even the bottom feeders are going to have going to say optimistic things on media day too. So teams that's probably not even going to get 20 wins. What are they going to say? Oh, well, we expect to do this season. We expect it's supposed to happen.
Right.
But um, I just don't see how we're going to win 44 games when you look at the roster and then you compare it to the rest of the Eastern Conference. To me, I think that's just delusional thinking.
And look, bottom line is this, and we'll move on, is Wes Unseld, the answer to that question that I asked is Wes Unseld Jr. absolutely can't do much. Not in this Eastern Conference, not when, teams are stacked, and they're going seven deep. And,
Right.
you have teams that are just defensively better. You have guys that are playing outside of themselves. We don't like certain packages for certain players. When we talk about trades, let's say you talk about Miami, for example, and people are constantly, talking about, well, why would you trade, Hero and Vincent and Duncan Robinson for these guys? But look, those three guys play outside of themselves. Okay, they actually perform.
Exactly.
They perform well for the Miami Heat, and so we don't have any of those guys that I know of yet. Like until proven otherwise, I can't say that Monte Morris is going to be more than a 12 points per game score, or DeLone Wright's going to be more than an 8 or 9 points per game score, or even that Denny's going to be more than a 9 points per game score. I don't know that for sure until proven otherwise. And so I just think personally, it's hard to put unrealistic expectations of 44, 45 wins when we just have a bunch of guys that they are who they are. They are who
Right.
they are type of players. Outside of Bill and Porzingis, I'm going to say this. It's going to be very, very difficult to find offense and to find consistency. Um, and Kuzma have his nights. Okay, Kuzma will have his nights. Denny will have his nights. Rui may have his nights. But it's an 82 game season. And the only two consistent players that we'll probably see all year is only two guys, Bill and Porzingis. And is that Wes Unseld Jr.'s fault? I don't think so. I think it's just a talent. It's a talent issue. It's it's a it's
It's
a
definitely that.
it's a team constructed issue. Okay, and that falls
Absolutely.
that falls
It's definitely that.
squarely, yeah, it falls squarely on the shoulders of Tommy Shepard. So I'm gonna agree with you that his honeymoon is definitely over, but I'm also going to say that I do believe that Bradley Bill, with him saying what he said, that the losses are gonna fall squarely on his shoulders. Oh yeah, absolutely, because you vouched for this plan for the next 5 years. So
Absolutely.
you best
So it
believe
will.
that regardless of what the roster is and regardless of record, it will fall on you. Go ahead and make your quick
It's
point.
absolutely. It definitely will fall on. And another thing that I would like to see a little bit different from West, but I got a feeling we're going to see this again. I would like to see him shorten the rotation. I don't want to see us going 10 deep. Um,
Welcome back to part two of State of the Wizards. Um, so we were talking about in the first episode or first part one of this episode, we were referring to the actual roster, making a point just now. The direction and Bradley Bill and
mhm.
his statements and his comments and where we're going to hold the team going forward. Go ahead and just make your final point, then we'll switch gears here.
So my final point was just more so on the rotations. I just hope that Wes Unseld Jr. will reduce his rotations because if he continues to try to play 10 guys, there's going to be some guys that's not going to eat this upcoming season, and we've already saw what that looks like last year. So that's where I'm at. But at the end of the day, I know that's not going to happen. So why don't we go ahead and switch gears and talk about what's really, really important? This has been hot news, and it's about Ime Udoka having an affair on his fiancee Nia Long. So you and I have been talking about this the past few days. Reports going out, names not being mentioned. As I was saying to you, I said, bruh, it's more onions. I mean, layers on this onion. They got to keep getting peeled back, and now there's a new one. Give me your take with how you feeling about this whole situation, bro.
Well, first thing, Nia Long, being the beautiful woman that she is, she basically caught in a storm of events with Ime Udoka. Ime Udoka basically making a decision to have an affair allegedly on Nia Long and cost him his job for an entire year. They suspended him. And yes, there's a lot of layers to the onion. And we have talked about it. Ime Udoka made a decision to have a relationship with a female employee. The original reports that came out was he had a alleged affair with a female staffer. And now, as you see, in that, some more reports are going out about the actual employee. She was a service manager, husband's a VP, and her whole her whole job, and based off of what this article says, is Celtics staffer, they're using that word staffer again, involved with Ime Udoka reportedly organized Nia Long's travel plan. My thing is, and then I'll let you expound on how you feel about it, is this is a woman that knew about everything. She knew about everything, all the way down from, the coach's schedule to Nia Long's schedule. Right? She was responsible for it. If you read through here, a lot of people are saying we all know at this point, based off of other reports, of who the female staffer is, but they're saying that the staffer's identity has not been revealed. But sources tell TMZ that one of her duties was travel planning, not only for Udoka, but also his longtime partner and fiance, Nia Long. Insiders say the woman organized Long's travel for away games and even assisted her move to Boston. According to TMZ, the actress and her 10-year-old son permanently moved to Beantown a couple weeks ago, approximately 2 months after Udoka became aware of the Celtics investigation. The outpouring of love and support from family, friends, and community during this difficult time means so much to me, Long said in a statement. I ask that my privacy be respected as I process the recent events. That goes to our point that Nia Long had no idea. She was just caught in a firestorm of events. Above all, I am a mother and will continue to focus on my children. Following the suspension, Udoka issued a public apology. I want to apologize to our players, fans, the entire Celtics organization, and my family for letting them down. I'm sorry for putting the team in this difficult situation, and I accept the team's decision. Out of respect for everyone involved, I will have no further comment. He's pretty much accepting it because he's owned up to basically what he's done. He's accepting it. You tell me, my dude, where are you at this stage of what you're finding out about Ime Udoka and his suspension?
So I'm gonna say what I've been saying. Ime's coaching career is pretty much over. They're suspending him, but what I think the Celtics are doing is they're trying to protect themselves from a potential lawsuit. Now, the Celtics were the ones that put this story out, but what they've been doing is they've been spoon feeding the masses, the audience with this story. So they do a press conference on Friday, talking about the women being dragged in the process, even though the Celtics were the ones that created this, because you just did a press conference and you didn't give anybody anything. What did you expect people on social media to do? They were going to go and try to find out who these parties were, who were the
Mm-hmm.
people.
Mm-hmm.
What's been happening is Ime Udoka has been getting dragged in the process. I think that's what the Celtics wanted. They wanted the public to drag him in the process to make themselves look good.
Mm-hmm.
I'm gonna take it the next step. So let's talk about Lynch, who allegedly is this woman that he was dealing with. You just said she was in control of travel plan. So she was 100% well aware of Nia Long's travel plans. When I was watching her live today, they said that Ime Udoka had disclosed to Lynch that him and Nia Long's work schedule keeps them apart. Where if you add up the time that they've seen each other throughout the year, it would probably not even total up to 2 months worth of seeing each other. So Lynch knew that whole situation.
Hold on.
So there's no need. Go ahead.
I'm just gonna I'm gonna let just remember what you're about to say. Why does he need to tell her that if she's the if person who's responsible for organizing the travel plan?
Yes.
You
Why is he disclosed?
there's no need for him to because she
Wait,
already knows.
right. This is what is being reported that he said that. And let's talk about how the story even got leaked. So in that article that I sent you,
Yeah.
the husband, Lynch's husband, overheard Lynch having a conversation with Ime Udoka. He hear that? He heard it through the Ring
The
doorbell.
doorbell camera. Yeah, the doorbell camera.
Doorbell. So he heard it. He heard it from there, and it's him that was pushing this for this whole thing to go out. So he was the one that leaked the report because he found out that way.
Yeah,
So what the Celtics are doing,
this says Ime Udoka's affair with female Celtic staffer was reportedly discovered when her husband heard a private conversation on the home doorbell camera.
now it was supposed to be private, right? My thing is, if you know you got a doorbell camera, why in the hell are you gonna go outside and stand right in front of that damn thing and have a conversation over the phone? It sends a notification. So that was foolish for
on
her
on her part. Yeah.
on part. However, what we're seeing is, and I'm gonna have to go here. What we're seeing is Ime is the one who's getting dragged through the process, and the organization is trying to protect Lynch. They're trying to protect her. So
Mm-hmm.
people will, well, why are they trying to protect her? Well, I have to go there, my brother. I have to go there, and this is
Race.
the truth. Ime is what? Black. Lynch
Mm-hmm.
is what? White. Oh,
Mm-hmm.
what are they supposed to do? They're trying to protect her image. They're trying to protect this white woman and make it seem like that this man here can't control himself.
Well,
So
yeah, the and you know, I'm gonna say this. I think it's just more than race. You and I talked about it. I think even because the original report was that two women were involved.
right,
And they're protecting the other woman as well. And that woman that everyone said that they believed that it was, who their minds originally went to, which was Allison Feaster, she's a black woman. So I'm
Yeah.
looking at this as it's not only just a racial thing, it's also a sexism thing
Hmm.
because of the fact that, you know, their number the NBA's job right now is to protect women. It's the bottom line.
Right.
WNBA, the feminist groups come out and droves on these type of topics. You know, toxic masculinity. That stuff tends to get you know, glorified, put out in the light. I think it's just more than it being about race. Race definitely is number one, but I think number two is that why did you put out a report originally that it was more than one woman? It was you guys said it was
Right.
two. Then when people started saying, "Oh, well, the other woman, the number one woman that people factored in first was Allison Feaster. No one even thought about Kathleen Lynch, right? Nobody was even mentioning her. But then when you started figuring out it was Lynch, all of a sudden the two women report went away. Why?
Well,
Because
here's the question. When the report, if you remember, when the report was originally put out there, it was only, first of all, it was very vague. It said that he violated, team rules, the way it was reported at first. So we didn't even know what he did. Then another report came out that, he had relations and it was only singular. So it was one woman.
yeah,
Then as time went on, then
they
we
said female staffer, right? I remember that. Yeah,
it was single, but it was single. It was just one.
a
Then all of a
female
sudden, as
staffer,
time went on, then it became plural. Then it was two.
right?
So when it became two, then that's when people say, okay, because at first the reason why they made it, why did they make it go to be two women? Because everybody would say, okay, female staffer. They went to Allison Feast. So then they turn around and say, oh well, it's more than one woman now. It's two. So then it's like, okay, well, who's the second?
They didn't
Who's the
they didn't
second person?
they didn't like the fact that people were mixing up their own report. Like you said, it
Right.
was two women. What you think that the public is going to do? Public is going to say, "Well, who are the two women?" That's what they're going to do.
Well, that backfired. It backfired when they said one, and to what you said when they used the word staffer. People automatically went with Allison Feaster. The
Because
Celtics was the ones that actually they screwed it up themselves by doing that. They didn't think that people was gonna really try to say, okay, well, we need to figure out who that is.
with that said, I believe that they said, "Okay, we're not going to name any woman in this situation. We're not going to name Feaster. Not going to name Lynch. We're just going to say that we know that Ime Udoka had an alleged affair with one of with these or with one woman. They didn't even say that really. They didn't even say he had one affair with one woman. Just what eventually we found out through other sources. You know, TMZ putting this information out. Other reports that we've seen. What is this? Yahoo. Yahoo's putting it out.
Mm-hmm.
The Celtics staffer, right? So the Celtics didn't even put this information out. This is information that is now trickling out to the media slowly. Like you said, they're spoon feeding us this information, and we're learning it later. But they're still not saying the names or the name.
Mm-hmm.
Um,
Right.
again, and then let me just wrap me. I'm just gonna wrap what my point is up in one big bow. I think that that's their job is to protect women. At the end of the day, how this originally played out was that yes, the husband found out that his wife was talking or may have been talking to Udoka, right? On that level, but nothing was confirmed or nothing was that's all speculation from the husband's standpoint. Let's do an internal investigation on Ime Udoka that he could possibly be seeing my wife behind my back, right? But
Mm-hmm.
what confirmed it to me was when he made unwarranted comments to a female. And they didn't say it was Lynch and they didn't say it was Feaster. They just said he made unwarranted comments. When those comments were made, that's what made them say, you know what? Let's go further into the investigation. Let's find out what's going on. And my personal opinion is those unwarranted comments came from Allison, or he made those unwarranted comments to Allison Feaster, in my opinion.
Mm-hmm.
And I think that's when she went to the Boston Celtics organization that, hey, look, I'm a married woman. I don't need him hitting on me or whatever. And I think that's what spurred a further investigation. That's what I think.
Okay.
And I think, and you know what was kind of, you know, my thing is the year suspension is also important because he could have worked on the sidelines with Allison Feaster with no problem if Kathleen Lynch was the person, right? He could have worked on
Hmm.
the sidelines still. If it was just one woman that was involved, he could have worked on the sidelines, no problem. But because I think it was two, and I think Allison Feaster may have been that other woman, I don't think that they could have worked together this season.
Hmm.
I don't
It's
think
a possibility.
I think she was like, nah, I'm not gonna work with him.
Well, I think the reason why I got to that point because of the report coming out that the husband was the one who leaked it out. And I think the husband probably wanted the organization to do something about it. Allison Feaster, if it is her, probably did feel uncomfortable. Um, but let's look at this situation here, because Adrian Woj went before even this report came out was saying that Ime was going to possibly be a hot commodity as far as a head coach next offseason. This report here changes everything
Oh yeah,
because it's no way any franchise is going to want this type of problem in their own backyard. So let me say this, and this is to only one person in particular on Wizards Twitter who was saying that, oh, well, the Wizards should go get this guy. Ted is not going to get a guy like this at all. And Ime, I don't have any, I don't know this man. I'm pretty sure he's a good guy. He just made a bad mistake.
mm-hmm.
But we know this organization does not like bad press. So he's not going to be a player that Ted Leonsis, I mean, a coach, I'm sorry,
Coach,
a coach
coach, yeah.
that Ted Leonsis will want to hire with this on his resume. So that's the unfortunate thing.
Nah, I mean
Um,
he's a great coach,
he's a
but
great coach, but
but Ted needs to know he's a great guy first.
exactly. And we know how that is. So with this situation here, it's just bad all the way around. And the Celtics, the way they handle it so horribly. Because what did they think was going to happen? You basically giving out vague statements. What did you think people was going to do? But at the same time, the Celtics wanted people to do this. So
Yeah,
if you look at it, Ime is getting trashed. That's what they wanted the attention to be on Ime. But
yeah.
however, people were still saying, well, wait a minute, who is these women? Because they never denied Lynch was the woman. They never really denied that Alison Feaster was the woman. They just didn't say anything. They just said, we don't appreciate the fact that these women are being dragged.
But you guys didn't say
Well,
anything.
you
But you
didn't say anything, but you said it was a staffer. You
mm-hmm.
said that.
Yep,
You said it was a woman that's part of the staff.
yep.
So, I mean, what did you want people to sit there and say? Oh, well, is he sitting there trying to talk to Derek Strong? Is he
Right,
trying to talk to Brad Stevens?
right, exactly.
Like, where did you
Exactly.
think the attention was going to go?
And they, you know, what's crazy is, man, because this was racial, in my opinion, they did exactly what they wanted to do with Ime Udoka
Mm,
in this situation. They definitely used some of those tactics, that we're so used to in history, when it comes down
yeah,
to uh blacks in this country, man. It's unfortunate. And I know people probably watching this, they're like, look, this isn't really about race. I'd beg to differ. This is Boston we're talking about.
hmm,
Boston has a history of racial, bias, racial tension, racism, right? And so you can't look past that. It's Boston, all right? And to your point, the Boston Celtics organization wanted people to talk about it. That was the point of this. This was public humiliation. And the VP, he felt some type of way about this entire situation where he said, if look, if he can't get in trouble any other way, then let's humiliate the guy if we can at least. Let's put this out publicly and humiliate him if we can. If we can't,
Hmm.
if we can't, treat him inhumane, if we can't do that even, then let's go ahead and humiliate the guy publicly, where we pretty much ruined his life. That's what happened in the situation. Um, and the importance of who he had this affair with. That's why people know for a fact that it's Lynch, because her
Hmm.
husband's a VP. So it makes sense. It makes sense why he's getting scolded, because the woman that he messed with, her husband is the VP of the Boston Celtics. So that
Yeah,
matters. That matters when you talk about status and things of that nature. They definitely threw the axe down on him, and this was a public humiliation platform that they put Ime Udoka on, and we literally watched the man. Um, you know, we watched him get publicly humiliated. That's at
yeah,
least what I saw. I've never seen a head coach get 100 years, get 1 year suspension for having a consensual relationship. Never seen it
yeah,
until never seen it.
yeah. I mean, you're right, because it happens all the time. So let me ask you this: when this is all said and done, when the dust settles, does he get another head coaching job?
I would say no. I would say I would say he's done at this point.
Right,
He could probably go to the college game, but people are looking at his track record at this point. They're saying I've seen reports, Ime Udoka came from nothing to a head coach. Now he just, all of that's now washed away. People are using the fact that this man was an undrafted player, basically saying he really had no business even being in that position to begin with. That's what I'm seeing.
right, right.
So the NBA is going to do what the NBA does. The good old boys are going to round up and they're going to say, well, what about this Ime Udoka guy? Nah, not on my staff, not in my organization. They're going to make sure that he doesn't get another
Right.
job in the NBA.
That's unfortunate because he is an elite coach. He did take a team, the Celtics, to the finals in his first year.
And if the Celtics
I mean,
make it
he
back,
pretty much,
and if the Celtics make it back, they're going to say, well, it wasn't really Ime Udoka. They're going to discredit what he did.
that's true. That is true. Because that probably will be the case if they make it there without him. They're going to say, well, it didn't really matter to him. I mean, all you got to do is look no further than the Golden State Warriors.
Right.
Once Mark Jackson was let go, Steve Kerr came in, they won a championship. And then
Exactly.
basically it was like, it wasn't really about Mark Jackson. It was
Right.
just that we were going to do this whether he was a coach or not. But it's very unfortunate for Ime. Like I said, he made a mistake, and the mistake just basically cost him his career, um, and his life. I mean, it's unfortunate. Um,
Now let me
yeah,
say
man.
this. Let me say this. What I will say is look, I understand where a lot of women come from in these situations. I do. I have a daughter, and I wouldn't want my daughter treated unfairly in any situation. But I think what kind of makes this different is that he had a consensual relationship with another grown woman. All right. And she had responsibilities too.
Yeah,
It's not just him. She did too. And I'm seeing
right.
ESPN. ESPN's like, look, you guys don't know all the facts, so don't be talking about, these women when we don't know what these women's positions were and who was all involved and all of that. Okay, we don't know all the facts, but help us get all the facts so that way we can talk about who was all involved, because it wasn't just Ime Udoka. You guys are talking like it's one-sided when it's not. This was two individuals that made two decisions, two adult-like decisions that impacted both sides. It didn't just impact one side, it impacted the other side as well. They don't want that narrative to go out there. They don't, because it makes that other side look bad. It only focuses
Well,
more primarily on this side.
that other side looks bad regardless because at the end of the day, she was a married woman. She's married with 3 kids. Ime is not married, but he has a child with Nia
Yeah,
Long.
yeah,
So if you look at it, she's standing to lose something just as much as he did. you
exactly,
know but
exactly.
at the end of the day, the focus has been on the head coach because one thing I heard was, well, Ime is in management, and they're saying that Lynch is like a lower tier staff member, like she's not on the same level, but Ime is in management. So that's what makes it look bad because he's in a supervisor role, having relations with a subordinate. And but at the end of the day,
That's why the owner.
you got to look at it for.
That's why the owner got involved. Essentially, that's
That's
why.
why the owner got involved. But at the end of the day, let's just take it away from sports. That's like a college professor having relations with their student. Let's just say that student is married. That college professor is not, or let's say the college professor is. If it's consensual, then it's consensual. But the
Mm-hmm.
way they're making it sound, it's like they're trying to let's take the word consensual out of it. Well, then now you're talking about something completely different. Now you're making it sound like this was done without her approval.
Right.
So which one is it? Is it consensual or is it not?
Or did he take
But
advantage?
again, the
Right.
organization is handling it so poorly
Yeah.
because they put out one report and then it's like, oh wait, we need to back up a little bit. Let's clean that up a little bit because
Absolutely.
we don't
Yep.
want to. The focus is supposed to be on the head coach because I get it. But at the end of the day, if it's consensual, it's consensual.
Exactly.
Why would her husband be upset?
Exactly. Exactly.
Unless he was told, well, no, baby, it wasn't that way. This guy's just, he's stalking me, this, that, and the third. And that goes into a whole nother dynamic.
Yeah.
But at the end of
And
the day, the report was it was consensual.
yeah.
So why all of a sudden we're trying to run away from that?
Yeah. So I saw that report too that he was stalking or whatever. And my take on that is I just believe that she threw that out there because she's trying to save face. And I think that she got caught. You know
Yeah.
what I mean? I think she got caught. They both got caught.
Ain't no think about it. She did, but go
Yeah,
ahead.
yeah, they both did, and there was an internal investigation that happened, right? And in this internal investigation, it found out that both of them were, basically having this affair, and they asked her what was going on, and they probably said, "Well, we saw Ime Udoka, outside at the restaurant the same time you were." Oh, well, he was stalking me. No, that's not stalking. That's actually you being caught with him out at the restaurant. Just call it
Of
what it is.
course.
Just call just call it what it is. You know?
Yeah.
And it's easy to spin these narratives now when one guy is the focus and then you are getting the blanket, you know? So it's like whatever you say, we believe because we feel he's way more guilty than you are. So you give us your side. You tell us what you think, you know? And again, okay, I don't have all the facts. But don't get mad at me for speculating the way that I am because the Boston Celtics refuse to give me all of the facts. So if I'm
Well, let's stick with what we know, man.
right, but yeah, but that's what I'm saying. What we know, we still may not know because they never confirmed it, or they're not giving us everything.
Well, here's what I'm gonna say, and I'm gonna try to end it real quick because I see we got a lot, about 8 minutes. So what we know is that they had a consensual relationship. But here's the thing: if they did an internal investigation and she was in control of the scheduling, don't you think players saw them two talking? Don't you think assistant coaches saw them two having conversation? I mean, come on, they're traveling together. They're going, from city to city. I'm pretty sure they saw Okay, there go Kathleen going up in coach's room again. What's up with that? Like people saw this,
Mm-hmm.
but they probably kept it quiet. So
Mm-hmm.
it's more of those things. Okay, what did you see? Well, I saw, Kathleen going into coach's room.
Mm-hmm.
You saw coach going into Kathleen's room, right? No, I saw Kathleen going into the coach's room. No, you saw coach going in her room, right? Yeah, yeah, that's what I saw. Coach going in her room. Okay,
Right.
that's what I thought
Wink,
you said.
wink,
It could
wink.
be a situation like that.
Right.
Yeah,
Wink.
look, it could be a situation like that. Not saying that it is, but wouldn't be surprised. But at the end of the day, we know that a whole bunch of people saw this
Mm-hmm.
because we don't know how long this has been going on. They investigated this 2 months ago, but how long has this situation been going on?
Yeah, we don't know.
If it's true that Ime told her, if it's true that Ime told her that he doesn't see Nia Long often, why would that message be even disclosed? Why would he even say that?
Exactly. Why? I mean, and there's no need for him to if she's the scheduler. She's the one who knows where Nia's gonna be at that time. She's telling him. She's you get what I'm saying? If she's the person that's saying, "Hey Nia, your your scheduled flight today is at 3 p.m. Okay, you're gonna land here at around 6 p.m. All right." She's back with Ime saying, "Hey, Nia won't be here after 3 p.m."
Hmm.
You see what I'm
She's
saying?
prepping it.
She's prepping
She's
him.
prepping it.
She's telling him what her schedule is. So
Hmm.
that way they can do what they're doing.
Yeah,
And and
exactly.
and that's the thing. Like, I don't get why the Boston Celtics think that people are this stupid. Eventually, when this information starts getting out, people are going to start putting the pieces together, and they're going to say, "Oh, well, if she was the scheduler, if she was the travel planner and everything like that, then she was the one telling Nia when to come out. So therefore, she can do what
Mm,
she needs to do while Nia's not there." And
right.
and what's even crazier is Nia was going to move to Boston. She was on her way there.
Yeah.
So now
Yeah.
you want to
Just two
clean
weeks
this
ago.
just 2 weeks ago. That's really why this all started coming out because you know they it was nothing else she could do. Nia was coming there, bro. Like she was like, "Look, if something's going on, I'm gonna find out one way or the other because I'm gonna be there. I'm gonna be there. You can't tell me that I need a flight
Yeah. I
to
mean,
LA
it was good.
anymore."
She came out.
Right? Exactly.
Yeah, she came out there because they were getting ready to start house hunting. That's the
That's what
thing. They was
That's what
getting
I'm
ready to
saying.
start house hunting.
Isn't that
So
crazy?
she came into a situation. Well, they said that she didn't even know that she just found this out when it happened. So she was oblivious to all of this. So she clearly was in the dark. But at the end of the day, man,
No,
I mean,
but come on, she was in the
I
dark,
get what you're saying, though.
but we know she's smarter than that.
Yeah, yeah,
We
of
know when
course.
women got that. We know when women got that intuition. She ain't dumb. She ain't stupid. Yeah, she wasn't in the know, but she probably had some thoughts in her mind like, wait a minute, okay, she's telling me that my flight to LA's at 3, but Ime is coming in around 3 today. Okay, I'm leaving at the same time he's coming in. Something ain't adding up here.
Well, most likely it was okay. If my flight is at 3, why me and Ime not flying on that same flight together?
Right. That's what I'm saying. Right.
Like,
Exactly.
why are we not on
Same
that
thing.
same flight together?
Same
It
thing.
is if
Whether she's
yeah,
going or whether she going and he coming or whether they together and they don't leave together, it's the same damn thing. She's
yeah,
she's obviously planning for her to not be there so she
of
can be
course. He's like, oh yeah, don't worry, baby. I got to do some scouting of some NBA prospects. Fool, it's July. The draft already happened.
Ah, oh man, that's
You
funny.
was scouting all right.
He was definitely doing some scouting, bro. He was, I mean, Ime, I know, man, look,
He was scouting what kind of drawers she was wearing. If she was wearing silk or she was wearing something.
he was like, okay, well, I like
Listen,
that
you know
today.
what? It's like, so you said your nickname is Victoria, huh? Well, I know your secret.
Oh man, like, hey, look, we got some trials today, and you know what I'm talking about. Time to try it out. Oh man,
Oh man, I tell you, man, you can't make this up. And then again, if you the boss of Celtics, you can't make it up.
bruh, exactly. Thank you. I mean, the Celtics, man, yeah, in my opinion, they just somebody lying. We know somebody lying. We know why they lying. We know who they lying for. And
Hmm.
there's a reason why when the questions went out and they had that press conference, they said they was keeping everything internal, no comment. They wasn't going to speak on the investigation and what they found because they can spin the narrative however they want. They know that. They,
Hmm.
but at this point, it's what everyone's gonna find out eventually. One thing about social media today, I can tell you, is people are way more smart investigators than the actual investigators themselves. People will find
Exactly.
out the truth. They will. But we got a minute left. If you want to give your closing remarks on any type of expectations for the season, or you rather pass on that?
I don't have any expectations, man. I say we win less than 40 games this upcoming season.
Less than 40. Okay. I got less than 40 as well. I'm gonna say roughly 36, maybe 35, 36 games. 39 games fully healthy. So the 36 is only
Yeah.
coming from injuries or COVID or what may have you. But
Hmm.
my ceiling for this team this season is about 39 wins healthy. So I can't be mad at it until proven otherwise. I don't see how this roster is even capable of putting together 44 to 45 wins unless somebody else plays outside themselves this season.
Yeah. Or if half the Eastern Conference gets injured.
Right, exactly. So that concludes this episode of State of the Wizards. I want to thank you guys for tuning in and watching us. Again, support the channel by subscribing, hitting that subscribe button below. We'll see you guys on the next episode. Peace.